Bet Snakes, and today we're going to be making a Valentine's pop-up card, and we're going to make the envelope for it as well. And we're going to add a few embellishments along the way. We're going to have a lot of fun with this project. Just want to give you a really good example of what it looks like. This has a lovely pop-up. I've added some extra embellishments here. We have some text here, all drawn by the Cricut, and of course the outside of the card. I've used double-sided cardstock in order to make this work, and some plain paper for this. Now we're also going to make an envelope that goes with it, and this is the outside of the envelope. And you'll notice I've used two-sided cardstock, and I've alternated the top part of it because it's a two-part envelope, and it's so much fun and so easy to put together. You can do this all on your own. So let's get started with our Valentine pop-up. And one last thing, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also click on the little bell so you know when the next video is coming out. You'll be able to take advantage of it. So let's get started on our project. Hi, here we are in Cricut Design Space. Remember, you have to download the desktop app in order to get going on this. So this is the initial screen that it comes for me, Bet. And all I'm going to do today is I'm going to click on a new project, and it comes up with my canvas. For this particular project, we're going to need to upload my template that I gave you in my resource library. So let's click on upload. I have already uploaded it here, and it is called Valentine Pop-Up Hearts with Envelope. So let's just open this one up. We're going to come down here and insert the image. And there we go. Every time we bring an SVG in, it always comes up with these black images, and you can't see very much with black. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up into this corner under line type where it says cut. I'm going to change the color from black to yellow so I can actually see the lines that I'm going to be working with. So it looks like we have a series of hearts. We have our envelope, that's the bottom part. We have the envelope top. So next thing I have to do is I have to ungroup everything in order to start working with it. So let's click on ungroup. So you've got the first one here. Now it has a cut line down the middle and a cut on the outside. This is the outside of the card. All I want to do is change this line to a score line. If I come over to my layers panel, if I click here, I get the outside of the envelope. If I click just above it, I get the line above it. Now you can't really tell because it's grouped together, and I don't want to ungroup them because I don't want them to move. So I'm going to change that cut, come over here and change it to a score line. That's exactly what I want. Now even though it's grouped together, I still want to select both of them together, and I'm going to click on attach. That means when I go to cut it, the score line is attached to the outside of the card and I don't have to move anything. Now let's take a look at the inside of the card. We have the outside, which is going to be cut. These are little cut lines here as well, and we want them to be cut because we want the flaps open. But what we want to change once again is the center line into a score line. So let's just click on it. Come over to the layers palette. You see the cut line of part of the heart, cut line of the heart, cut line of the outer card, and then you see this other one in the center. It's a cut, and of course we want to change that to a score line. As I said before, you want to hold all of this together when it goes to the mat, so we're going to click on attach. So that takes care of two pieces, so we don't have to worry about those right now. I'm just going to put them up and out of the way. Now, this one, you'll notice it comes up with something huge, so we're going to ungroup it. And hopefully I just get, this piece is the top of the card. And I showed you before that it comes in a couple of pieces. So what we need to do is change this center line once again to a score line. So here it is in the layers palette. We have the cut of the outside, and then we also have this line, and you notice it came up with a little plus here. So we want to change that to score right Those are the two pieces we want. Put them together, and we are going to attach them. I can push that out to the side because I've taken care of that. Now this is an interesting one because you can't see the score lines behind for some reason, because if you look here, one is behind the other, so this one's hiding. So I am going to ungroup it, select it again. Now you see this cut line in the layers palette? I'm going to click on that cut. I'm coming over to arrange, and I'm going to send it to the front. And if I click away, now you can see those lines. Okay, let's highlight the both of them again. So the top one is the cut and the bottom is cut, but I want these to be score lines, so let's come over here and click on score. Now you can see I have the score lines exactly the way I want them. Let's highlight both and let's attach them. So now we can put that one out of the way. Now we have a couple more parts here that we're going to be working with before we get to cutting the mat. Now each one of these has a score line in the middle, so we kind of have to do the same thing. If I click on this one, it comes up here with a cut and a cut. Let's click on the top cut one. And why it wants to jump, we're going to click on score. I come here, we have it all scored and ready to go. Put them together and attach them. So that's one heart done. Let's take a look at this one. I'm going to click where the cut is for the line, and I am going to change that to a score line. Scroll back down, highlight the two of them, click attach. Just move that out of the way. Let's click the next. Now this is one set of hearts. I generally like to have 3 different sets. So I'm going to pick on these. Oh, just these. Okay, just these. What I want to do is duplicate these a couple of times. So I'm just going to come up into the corner here and duplicate and duplicate. That is perfect. So now I have all the hearts done together. I actually have about 15 of them. Now the last 2 pieces I want to deal with here are the sayings that go on the front and the back, and because I want these things drawn in the middle and only the outside cut, let's click on the one, let's ungroup it. So I just get the one, and if I take a look at it, it's all grouped together, so I'm going to ungroup it. I am going to click on one of the hearts, and it says cut here, but I don't want it to cut. I actually want it to draw, and I'm going to change the color that I want it to draw to red. I'm going to do the same thing for the next heart, change it to draw, change the color to red. And the last heart here, I'm going to change it to draw and change it to red. Now the one that's writing in the middle, these are all the words, they should not have cut, but they seem to have cut. So we have the cut at the top here. I'm going over to the layers panel, and then we have the Valentine, and it just, you have to read it backwards. If I come back down here, it has actually selected the words because I've selected it from the layers panel, which is sometimes easier to select than coming over here. I'm going to change that to draw. Now you could pick any color you want. I'm going to pick on a blue, and that's what I did with my other one. Now this one is all ready. I'm actually going to group it, and then I'm going to attach it. That means this will stay together and come out as one piece. It'll draw in 2 different colors. Now the same thing with this one. We're going through the same process. You notice all these hearts are cut. That one, I'm going to hold the shift key down and select all of these. I am going to change them all to draw together, and I'm going to change the color to red. Perfect. Now looking down the side here, it is all cut on the letters. Now these are the letters down here, it has highlighted them. I am going to change that to draw, and I am going to change this color to blue as well. You could put a different color if you wanted to. Now I'm going to select the whole thing and I'm going to attach it. Now we're pretty well ready to go. We're going to sort this into mats. But first let's save it. And this is, I'm just going to call it Valentine Popup. And this is a demo. And I'm going to click Save. So now we have our two outsides. We have the inside and the outside of the card. We have the two pieces of the envelope. And we have all of these hearts. So we're ready to make it. So I'm going to click on Make It. Now because I had colored everything the same way, I'm going to get some really unusual looking patterns. So what I want to do is I'm going to move these hearts to another place, and I'm going to leave this in place, the top of the envelope. So if I take a look at the next mat, I also have a big problem with things being cut the way I don't want them. So I'm actually going to move this one. So if I take, yours may lay out a little differently. So all I need to do is click on the ellipse and move to another mat. Now I'm going to move it where they have the other card right here. So I'm going to click here and confirm it. Perfect. I'm just going to move these out of the way because we're going to make some changes here. Those are the two cards. Perfect. Now, what I want to do is, this one has the majority of the hearts. I don't have to move very much. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to move it to another mat. And this time I'm going to move it to a new mat, and I'll just pick any color and I'll confirm that. So that's going to cut out by itself. Now I want to arrange all of the hearts on one place. So let's go back to this first one. I'm going to have to move these 4 hearts. So let's move them one at a time. And I'm going to pick where the other mat is. Let's not worry about arranging them right now, but let's just worry about moving them to that mat. Okay, our mats are looking good. Now, what I did before is I arranged all of these so that I had 3 big ones, all coming down the same size. And my other big one, that's not a big one. That looks pretty good. And then the next size as well. So I'm always arranging them. Is that the same size as that one? Interesting. Is that one? And that one's a smaller one. Okay, so let's just move this out of the way. It's a more difficult place. What I'm trying to do is move them so I take up the first 4 inches with a set, the next 4 inches with a set, and the final 4 inches. The last ones and this one here. So now we have a mat set up so that I can do 3 different strips of paper. And what I will do is I will cut 4 inches by 12 inches off one type of paper, and the same with the next, and the same with the next. And that will give me 3 different patterns. For the hearts, I tend to use double-sided paper, so it could be one color, both sides, as long as the back is not white. Because when we go to put the card together, you really want to have it pop out. Now for the envelope, I also use double-sided paper because we can make an envelope with one color for this piece, and if I go down to the bottom, and then I can use the same paper for this one, but I can flip it around to give it a good pattern design. For these, you want to have a plain paper in place, and the reason you want a plain paper is the fact that the writing needs to show. If you use a pattern paper, it very rarely shows up. So you want to have this cut out and written on a plain piece of paper. That is just my recommendation. It doesn't mean that's what you have to do. Now the same here, you probably want two different types of paper. So I want to move this one down. So the top 6 inches will be one type of paper and the bottom 6 inches another type. So we're pretty well ready to go ahead and continue. Now I'm using my maker, but you could use an Explore Air 2 at the same time. It will always come up with your set material, and for mine I have decided to use a heavier cardstock, but you could use a premium or a medium. It doesn't really make any difference. You just select the material you want. For me, I'm using a heavy cardstock. It's going to tell me to put the scoring wheel in, load the mat, put the scoring wheel, and you'll notice it has an 02 here. That will match up with the blade that you put in. Now it's a blade or a scoring wheel. It will always have the number here so that you make sure you have the right tools in place. So okay, let's load our mat, make sure our scoring tool is in place, and then go ahead and cut your pieces. Remember that when you get to another area, so you decide that your hearts are going to be out of something different, all you need to do is click here, and you can say, okay, I am going to use something different here. Perhaps I'm just going to use a thinner paper, or maybe I am going to use a crepe paper. So you can search for your materials here. Say crepe, if I wanted crepe, I could go wool crepe, black crepe, crepe paper. So I could decide, and I'm actually going to put it in just one of my favorites and click done. So it'll tell me to load the scoring tool and load, and then it will also tell me which knife it wants me to load. So you can always change your material at any time. Okay, so there we go. That's putting everything together, and that's how to use the mat and how to adjust the mat and how to line them up and make sure things are on different pages or different mats so that you can use different materials, and how to line them up so you can use different materials. So let's cut this out and let's go ahead and do the assembly. So here we are, all the pieces have been cut on the Cricut. I've got some glue, and this time I'm just using some Scotch glue so I can dab things and make it work for me. And of course I have the Cricut tool for doing some burnishing. Now these are the envelope pieces that I have cut apart. I notice there are two sides, and I could put them together so that they came the same way, but I'm going to flip one over and we'll put that envelope together a little later. Here I have some hearts cut in the middle. So this is our inside of our card, and you'll notice that we have some cuts here. That's exactly what you want. We'll put that to the side. And then this is the outside of the card. I thought I would use this on the outside itself because I'm going to paste some sayings on it, and then this on the inside. So when they go together, they'll look like this, and when we open them up, then my hearts will pop out at that point. So those are those two pieces. I did cut the sayings on the same paper because I wanted a plain paper in order to do the sayings. And the reason is, and I'm just going to peel this one off. I have a very sticky pad here. You'll notice that I rolled the pad off. And this one will be for the outside of the card. So this will what'll happen here, and I will place it here. On the inside of the card will be the next saying. I'll just pull that one off, and I'll put that mat aside, clean it up a little later. This will go on the inside here, so you can actually read it. If I had printed it on the pattern paper itself, it wouldn't have worked so well. So those are those two pieces, and we'll put them all together a little later. Now these are all the hearts that I had cut. Now I had cut them on 3 different types of paper, and these just happen to be two-sided paper because I felt two-sided paper will give me the effect that I'm actually looking for. So if we pull these off, just take off the excess first. We're going to be able to make some lovely designs with this. So let's just put the scrap paper aside. Right. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to assemble something that's going to fit in on the inside, and that's what we're going to do with these heart pieces. So first thing we want to do is to make sure that we get the fold going here. Let's give it a quick burnish. So now we're going to have these 2 flaps. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually sort these into different colors. So I'm going to put a large one on this side, and then I'll pick a different large one to go on this side. So we're going to glue those in place, put them together this way, and then we're going to take the next size down. So let's just sort these into different sizes, and we can mix and match as we go here. So what we want now is the next size, and let's find the next size on a couple of them. This looks perfect. So I folded that one to the inside, so let's fold this one this way, and we're going to put it here. Fold this one this way, and we will put it here. So we're building what we call our pop-up. It's a beautiful pop-up. So the next thing we want to do is we want to attach this to our main card. Now this is going to be the inside, and that's going to be the outside. So let's get to the fold. We do have a score line here, and I'm just going to push it to the score line. There we go. So we want to be able to open the card so that we match on the inside here. So now this is the more difficult piece because you want to get these 2 corners absolutely matching before you glue the rest of it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to the outside of this and just Okay, this is the card portion. We're just going to set it aside now to do some drying. And now it's time to assemble our envelope. Now you have to decide which you want for the outside. I think I want this on the outside. And you'll see you have score lines once again. You want to burnish those with your tool. So this is going to form the bottom part. We have one more burnish line here. There we go. Now this is how the bottom part of the envelope is going to look. I actually had one that I had done before as a test. So this is how your envelope will end up. This is the card I had put together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to glue the bottom part inside and then flip over the top so we actually have a really nice little envelope. I am not going to glue this right now, but I am going to take a look at where our burnish line is here. I'm going to burnish it in one direction. Now I could put it in this way so that it matches on the outside, or to add a little flavor to it, we always want flavor, I can add this way so you get something that's really unique and wonderful. So now it's time to put this together. So that I have everything lined up, this is perfect. And you can glue it right down, make sure it stays in place. Just check your edges. Now this is how it's going to work. So this is going to come down and you will seal your card inside. So all we need to do now is put the glue on this piece. If you wanted to, you could use this as a seal. You can address the back. You may have to put a sticker because of the pattern on it. So here's our envelope, and here's our cute little card, little pop-up card. Just want to make sure everything folds down when you close it. What you want to do here is maybe add some little messages inside, like I love you, be mine, and you can stick those in as well. So here's our card, and it pops right up. It is so cute. I really hope you enjoy making this one. Well, there we have it. We've completed our Valentine's pop-up card, and it is so cute. I know you're going to want to make several of them, change the sayings on it, add a few more embellishments. But it's a very simple pop-up. It doesn't take a lot of work. It just takes simple tools like glue, paper, and your Cricut machine or a pair of scissors, and that's exactly all you need. So here's the envelope once again. So this is what we've created. I hope you'll create many more. One last thing, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the little bell to get a reminder. Until next time, happy crafting.